Welcome to Banditland Boulevard. I'm one of your co-hosts of this legendary show, Trevor Hauer, and across from me, Tony Lamanca, aka Boxhead 98TL, joined by Mr. Luke Wiles. How's it going, Luke?
Pretty good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
You're very
So,
welcome.
Tony, this is another Bandits alumni that we brought on the show, and also a
Unbelievable.
damn good one. We had Delby Paulus on the show on Sunday, I think. Now we got Luke on here. Luke, I guess the first question we got to ask was, what was it like playing for the Buffalo Bandits? Because you started right around 2012 with the team, I think, maybe 2011,
Yes.
and finished in 2013. How was the atmosphere, first of all, just playing in a great city of Buffalo?
Well, first off, following up Delby is a tough follow. He was an excellent player and a good man. Um, I went to back-to-back championships with Seattle. We won in 10 and lost by a goal in Toronto in 11, and then I was traded to Buffalo and played with Buffalo for 12 and 13. My first year there, I had my best year as a pro. I was, second in the league in goals and tied for first in the league with Tavares for first in power play goals.
Nice.
And then
Johnny
it
who?
was
Johnny who?
John, and then it was almost kind of a tale of two seasons, or two, yeah, a tale of two seasons. My second year, I kind of had a contract dispute with the team. I was also getting my American citizenship, so I couldn't go into Canada to practice, which was an issue. They drafted Dane Smith and they traded for Aaron Wilson. And
Yes.
so I got to camp kind of late. Well, right at the end, really, I signed my biggest contract ever, and I wasn't on the power play. I struggled to fit in with the team early on in the season. I feel like the team kind of turned against me a little bit, and I was pushed onto the practice roster. When I first came into camp, it was kind of interesting because Tavares said that he thought that I should be the captain of the team.
Wow.
The offensive coordinator said to me, or he was like, "Oh, Luke can't be the captain." And I was like, "Well, why the fuck not?" Like, I'll take the fucking seat. Let's fucking go. And so, and then Darius kind of ripped me in the media, like right before I even stepped onto the floor. He had some issues that year. He was going through a divorce, and I think he took a
Oof.
good amount of it out on me. With the team wasn't doing very well, and I mean, overall, at the end of the season, I took the blame for the season. Well, then everyone else also piled all the blame on me for that season. And then that was ended up being my last season ever as a pro, which is, it's really sad that I had to keep my family together. I moved back to Philadelphia, um, and started working, and I just never really reached out to any other teams after that. I just kind of was in my 30s. I just had my second kid and I had to get to work. So that's what I did.
Yeah, it's understandable about that too. It kind of sucks that we would have loved to see you continue on with your career in the National
Definitely.
Lacrosse League. But on top of that, if, God forbid, if you got your signing with a different team, would you have continued to play until, God forbid, I don't know, maybe your early 40s?
No doubt. I think I thought I was one of the better players in the league, and I prided myself on being a good teammate. I just think that I had a rough season in Philadelphia, and it was just almost like you know difficult circumstances where I was probably in the top six highest paid players in the league. I was like 49,000, just under 50,000. And then I
Right.
get traded to Philadelphia, and John Meridian offers me 20,000. He says he's not going over that. And I was like, all right, well, my wife was here. I was working up in Buffalo. I lived up there for those 2 years, and I
Sure.
started working with a really good man, Rich Herman, who's a season ticket holder and a great family, and they took care of me. They almost like billeted me. I lived with them for a little bit and was working for him. And John was this was the third time that John Meridian traded for me in the NLL. He traded for me to San Jose, he traded for me to Seattle, and then he traded for me to Philly at the end. And I was like, oh, we're going to play this game again with the contract. And I was like, all right. I was like, that's fine. I was like, you don't get paid to come to training camp. So I'll sit out. If you don't want to come to the table, that's fine.
Right.
So he didn't. I went to I was like, all right, I'll drive myself down to Philadelphia. We'll sit down and you let me know why you think I should take a $29,000 haircut.
Yes.
Coming off a rough season that wasn't even, I didn't feel like it was my fault. It was circumstantial with the right-handers and me not being able to, travel into Canada for training camp. Things, I ended up holding out training camp, signing the $20,000 contract, and Johnny ripped it up, and I never played another game in the league.
That's very unfortunate. That seems a little unfair too.
I mean, dude, like look at your freaking stats from 2012. I mean, you really exploded on the scene there in the 7-1-6, man. I mean, you got 39 goals, 31 assists, 70 points in 16 games. You also made it to the All-Star game that year. And you had a very, very successful All-Star game. I mean, you had some great stats, and not to mention that All-Star game took place in Buffalo. But do you still maintain any, decent relationships with anybody here, or is it anything just kind of cut off from there?
I got to tell you, I don't know whether I was pretty butthurt or something from it, but I've only been to 2 NLL games since I left the league, and that had to be probably about 10 years ago now.
Wow.
I've had to work, so I've really focused on like coaching and making money for my family and getting us into a house. And I have 2 daughters who are 11 and 9 now.
Sure.
Awesome. God bless.
And they're doing really well, and they're in sports, and I'm very proud of them and the accomplishments that they've had over the past 10 years. But yeah, man, my wife's giving me tips here. I don't know what to say, which is kind of hilarious. She says that I coach them. Yeah, I coach the girls too a bunch.
That's
stuff.
okay.
So, but no, I mean, I am disappointed that I didn't play any more games. I thought, I'm an extremely effective player. I mean, even right now, I'm on this 75 hard thing where I'm training twice a day.
I heard of that.
2 45-minute workouts a day. I'm extremely fit. I coach
one indoor, 1 outdoor, 1 indoor, no cheat meals. I've heard of that stuff.
Yeah. And so I'm getting pretty shredded up here. My body's old though. I went back and played senior B for a couple of summers, and I get beat up pretty quick. So I mean, I'm done now. I've come to that realization that I am done. I coach. I'm an extremely effective teacher of the game.
Yeah,
sure.
I love doing it. It's extremely enjoyable for me. I can see the game at a very high level. But I'm pretty comfortable with the fact that I'm probably not playing much ball anymore.
Are we gonna see any Saturday Night Live bits that you said you were gonna try to get yourself involved?
Dude, you gotta get your sketch going, bro.
Gotta get
Man, I know. I do have to get some going. I'll tell you that, because it's something I've always wanted to do. I mean, the Saturday Night Live went a little bit woke, so that's a little.
Well, yeah, No, that's the whole thing in itself.
I mean, I try to go past it and then give it a chance every now and then, but it's just not that funny. So maybe this is my chance to jump in there and toss my name in the ring.
You said it was going downhill back then. Just you've seen some of that crap now. Oh my God!
What kind of impersonations can you do? Might as well talk about that. If you think you can be a comedian too as well, might as well do impersonations.
I'm about to say, you want to join the field that's not overtaken by the woke mob. Do some stand up.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, I would be better at stand up than I would be at impersonations. Not that great at impersonations.
You could definitely come down to Helium then, and you could start right there in Buffalo if you wish.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Actually, I've been back to Buffalo probably I don't know. I mean, I lived there for a couple years. I love the city. I mean, I love. I mean, one of my fondest memories are leading the team in goals that first year with Tavares,
Yeah.
and then like 4,000 people bought my jersey, or like 6,000 people bought my jersey. I'm like, fuck,
Dude,
this is awesome.
I went
Like,
to a
isn't it sick?
I went to a game against Rochester. Tony was there too a couple weeks ago in
Yes, sir.
and there's somebody sitting in the front row in section 119, 112 or whatever's in the corner wearing a
Yep.
black 15 Wiles jersey. I'm like, dude,
Unreal, dude.
people don't forget you, bro. The Bandits Mafia, Banditland still loves you, bro.
Yes, we do.
man, I love the city. I'm a huge fan of the city. Some of my fondest memories are of those 2 years. Even though the last year was super difficult, and I feel like the team kind of turned on me a little bit. I love the city, and I feel like the city really embraced me and brought me in. I find that I don't know, man, if I can be, very straightforward with you guys. I think that franchise has gonna have a tough time winning. I think that there's a disconnect from the front office to the coaching staff to the players, and as soon as there's a disconnect, it trickles down to the players, and as soon as there's a little bit of murky waters,
Sure.
it goes downhill pretty quick, because those things reveal themselves. You
The
got to
hole in
be
the
a
boat,
tight.
man. Yep.
You have to be an extremely well-oiled machine to win championships in that league. It's really tough. And you have to be very, very strong, from the front office to the management to the coaches to the captains and assistants to the players, and you have to be extremely well connected. And it's tough to win championships, and I'm not sure that franchise has it. I do like the Tavares head coaching thing.
Yeah.
That's a very strong position for them to fill. He's the smartest lacrosse man I played with. It was him.
The fucking
Absolutely.
I think it was between him, Doyle, and Glenn Clark. I never played with Doss. I played a couple All-Star games with them, but I think it was those three guys. Cam Woods sticks out as one of those guys as well. Jeff Zawicki was the best goal scorer I ever played with.
I mean, dude, you also play with Iannucci, right? Down in Philly?
I never played with him, no. When they traded me out of there, and then the next year they picked him up with the draft picks that they got. So he wasn't a great teammate. I don't know.
No.
I don't know about that guy. He was a rough guy to play with. What's that?
I said, INH, don't listen to this, please.
No, who cares, dude? Tony, I don't care.
I mean,
you know how many goals he scored against us?
I know, it's so sick.
That's just from guys that I mean, lacrosse is a pretty small world. That's just information that I collected over the years. That
absolutely,
he was a difficult guy to play with, and so I mean, that's just telling you guys
always
the truth.
Got that one. It's always that one player on each team. You never know.
And it's tough to win championships. It's tough to win championships. I think the same thing about Callum Crawford. I don't think he's a championship lacrosse player either.
Bandits and the Bandits traded him. The Bandits traded him for Sean Evans, bro.
Yep.
Remember that? But I don't know. I mean, I think it is tough to win a championship, obviously. I mean, looking at what happened for the Bandits in 2022, 2019 and 2016 back. Yep. Pretty much the last three times they made it, they came up short in the final. So
yes, they have.
It's been tough. It's been really tough. But at that time, they had Cordingley as their coach. They transitioned into JT. They're 8-2 right now, but I mean, they just got to keep pushing. They're dealing with a whole bunch of injuries right now, and showing a lot of adversity. But championship teams have strong depth as well, and that's exactly what the Bandits have right now. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, because Rochester's pretty freaking good right now. Toronto's pretty good. It's a three-way tie for that.
Halifax is getting there.
Damn good. Yep. Underrated.
Halifax is pretty good, dude.
Wow, underrated in my honest opinion. But let's look back a little bit with you, Luke. Did
Hmm.
you always grow up wanting to be a professional lacrosse player?
No, I was my pops was a hockey man. So
Nice.
I wanted to play in the NHL. I had no idea you could even play lacrosse at a high level. So
Hmm.
I put all my eggs into hockey, and then hockey at my hometown team held me till the very last cut and cut me when I was 15 and 16 from the junior A team. So I started playing junior C hockey. And I led the league in scoring 4 straight years. No, I was like
Wow.
top 10 in the league in
Nice.
scoring 4 straight years, playing
Genos.
less and less games. And then lacrosse started kind of calling. I got calls from Maryland and Loyola and Hartford and Delaware.
Sweet.
And I was like, holy jeez, like I can go to the States and play lacrosse and play for free. And then I started seeing some stuff about the NLL, and I went and watched the Brooklyn Redmen play and like met Gary and Paul Gate,
Sweet.
and lacrosse kind of started like, being something like, holy geez, maybe this is something. So because hockey kind of, I didn't get the bounces when I was 15 and 16, and you kind of got to get them at that age. So it kind of catapults you into playing with the best players in the world.
Right.
And
Sure.
then you progress from there. So when lacrosse started kind of knocking on the door to come down here on scholarship, I kind of navigated through that. I ended up taking a full ride to University of Delaware. I lasted 2 years at Delaware. My last year, like 6 days before I went to school, I lost my dad.
Oh, dude.
And
Sorry to
that
hear
last,
that, man.
I'm sorry.
yeah, thanks, boys. Yeah, he was a good man. He was my best bud, and so I won a, I think, what was it? I won a Minto Cup 6 days after my dad died, and I went back to school 9 days after my dad died.
Wow.
Hmm.
So that year was pretty rough for me. So I ended up being one credit short of them renewing my scholarship. And
Wow.
I was just like, they didn't really help me. They kind of kept pushing me away
Sure.
and not like providing me like guidance and help and stuff. And I was just like, I gotta be closer to home. So I entered the draft, and I went fourth overall to the Wings, and
Hmm.
I started playing and getting traded all around the country. And lacrosse has taken me on a really serious journey. I love the game. I really, appreciate everything that it's provided for me, and I can't say enough good things about the game.
Yeah, and no matter what the higher ups positions did to you in Buffalo, dude, just always remember that Banditland's got your back. We're all big Luke Wiles guys.
Yeah, we are. Oh, here's a good one.
Thanks, boys.
Yeah.
What do you normally go as? Cool Hand Luke, or do you prefer Luke Skywalker Wiles? What do you prefer?
Oh, fuck.
What do you prefer? What do you prefer?
I've had so many nicknames in my day because I got the weird voice. So I mean I've had so many nicknames. I mean, you can call me whatever you want
Yeah,
to. Whatever makes
I
it. Whatever
I think
makes
that Chris Swenson, Bandits PA guy, called you Skywalker a couple times.
Yes. Yes, he did. And that's why I'm like, we got to figure this out. You got to hear it from the guy's mouth himself. What does he prefer to be called as? Cool Hand Luke, or does he prefer Luke Skywalker Wiles? I think Skywalker Wiles sounds so sick.
Whatever you guys. I'll leave that one up to you guys.
There we go. Fair
Well, you
deal.
know
Fair
what?
deal.
I watched a couple of the highlights, and there was one game I went to. I don't know if it was Rochester or Colorado, but Stainhouse, who's an absolute fucking beauty, sent you a
Yeah.
great pass in front of the net, and you like faked up, faked down, faked up, faked down, and just shot it over his shoulder to the side. Was that like your move right in front of the net? Always just, kind of dinking and dunking around the goalies?
Yeah,
Taking
I
a
always
second
kind of,
guess.
I always had a pretty savvy way of keeping my stick back, and I always liked to play against the jumper goalies because I could always get them to move while keeping my stick prepared to shoot.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd say that was kind of one of my moves. I always liked to get to the inside, but I did have a very unique way of hitching and then getting to my spot. So it's tough to navigate the box game. It's tough in there. Guys are big. They're well schooled.
It's so condensed, man.
Yeah, it's very tough, and the D guys are so freaking big now. And like, I mean, I look at it now, like, could I play? I mean, maybe if I stuck around, I would still be an extremely effective player. But I mean, coming back into it, I think because there's so many teams now, it's a little bit watered down. It's tough to get really strong teams. I think Buffalo's got a really good team going on at the moment. But being a championship caliber team is extremely difficult, because even if you guys never even mentioned the West, really, Calgary's friggin' really good, and they're young, and they're big, and they're fast.
San Diego,
San
Saskatchewan.
Diego has so many veterans out there, and they're really good. So I mean, it's going to be a tall task to get it done this year, and you got to get out of the East first.
I just think you running up and down the floor, I don't know how you maintain just not being flat-footed whatsoever. I mean, they teach soccer players, and you kind of reminded me of you running, like your style, running like a soccer player, because they're always on their toes. So I don't know if like soccer players end up playing lacrosse, or if you ever played soccer or anything like that, but that's just what it kind of reminds me of. The number one thing they teach you in a field sport like soccer is to never be flat-footed, always run on your toes. And that was always something that always got you a step ahead on the floor.
Yeah, I have the record for goals in my high school for soccer. I only played 1 year.
This guy's played them all.
My last year. Well, I had the bad ADD, so my parents would just put me into every sport. So
Fantastic.
I was doing, basketball and volleyball and soccer. Soccer my last year in high school, but then I played hockey and lacrosse outside of that, and then I was in like a squash league, and I could have been a lifeguard because I was doing swimming lessons all the way up, and so. And then anytime I'd go out with my buddies, like we would be competing in stuff like darts or pool or like anything like that. Like everything was always a competition, and I would even like throwing bean bags and stuff. Like I tried to find the best way to do stuff, and then tinker. Same thing. That's why ever since I've been finished playing pro, I haven't been like trying to get my lacrosse game better to make it back. I've been working on my golf game.
Oh, nice.
Dude, that's hard, man.
And golf, I think, is the toughest sport out there. And I've got myself I'm about a 6 handicap golfer. So I'm a very, very strong striker of the ball, and I'm a student of the game. I really love making small adjustments out there and tinkering with my swing. And this past year, I've been working way too much. So, but I have some pretty good things on the horizon to get myself back out there and working on my golf game a little bit more frequently.
Nice. Very cool. I can see the next Tiger Woods right here across from us. Huh, Trev?
Well, dude, if he's got his high school soccer record in one season, don't underestimate it, bro.
I was getting like 3 or 4 goals a game. Like it was cakewall. It wasn't just me, though. Again, you got to have good teammates to make this stuff happen.
Were you a midfielder or midfielder striker?
No, I was a striker. I played and I could run the line, right? I just run the line, and I had 2 sick midfielders. My one buddy, Jason Skensos, who's like a Greek Italian guy, stud
soccer. Yeah.
He was the one that convinced me to do it. And I was like, I'll give it a try. Well, at first they wanted to put me on defense. I was like, dude, I don't play defense in nothing.
Luke does not play defense at all.
No.
I can play D, but you don't want me back there.
No.
Luke Wiles is nothing but a fucking goal scorer, is what he is. You know what I mean?
Did we just... Oh, I was like, I thought we just lost Trevor there.
I said that Luke Wiles is a goal scorer. Luke Wiles a goal scorer.
Yeah.
Well, so then not only that, just before the season, we got these 2 Spanish exchange students, and this one kid was a midfielder, and he scored a goal from half, and like he would be able to chip it up and over the defense. So I had 2 stud midfielders that were feeding me pass, and all that I had to do was run the line and run onto the ball and score goals. So I mean, it was really those guys' magicalness through the lines that propelled me to have that record, and it still stands today.
Wow. They set them up, you knock them down. That's how it basically works.
That's how we do it.
No, but you know what? At the same time, they probably lead the school in assists while you lead in goals.
Yeah, lots of apples.
They do. Those guys were that Jason Skensos guy. I think still has like all-time assists for the school. He played all 5 years. He was a soccer guy. He played like club soccer and that type stuff. This was just kind of like in the school, but really, like I love all the sports. I think that they also turn on light bulbs for each and every one to be able for you to navigate the different sports and to become better at sports. That's why when college coaches and stuff recruit, they want you to be playing multiple sports because there's a certain rollover of every sport that helps you navigate the way to be great at one.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Russell Wilson, I think, was drafted by was it the Orioles or the San Francisco Giants or something? Even though he was drafted in like the 18th round in the MLB, even though he went like in the 3rd round for the NFL. And I think Kaepernick got drafted by the Tigers or something. I mean, as a pitcher, you see all these guys playing multi-sports. It's a big thing. And there's that stat where it's like 92% of NFL draftees are multi-sport athletes. I'm like, to no surprise. Nobody's just going to have an off season where they're just lifting and doing cardio. They're playing winter sports. They're doing something like that. But
I'll tell you, you know who couldn't play other sports was Paul Rabel.
Really?
I went to his wedding, and I trained with him and Hartsey for a couple of years when we played together out in Washington. I was living in Philly and they were living in Baltimore, so I was driving down there to train with Jay Dyer and those two knuckleheads.
Sick.
Nice.
And he's not good at other stuff. He's just not good at other stuff, and I'm like, "Ow, man!
Oh my god,
you're so big,
relax, bro."
He was just so clunky. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, I don't know. It's hilarious.
Never laced up the skates before.
There's no chance that man can skate. No chance. He just can't do much other than lacrosse. It's a shocking parallel because he was such an effective. He was an extremely effective field player. He couldn't really play at the offensive door because he couldn't settle into the gaps. And stuff. I tried to teach him. Zawicki or Reese Dutch wanted nothing to do with teaching him. So I would try to help him. I mean, I liked Rabel, but those guys wanted nothing to do with playing for him, or playing with him. He was extremely effective getting the ball up and down the floor because he's just a freaking force.
Oh,
so
nice.
and he's one of the best field players of all time. I mean,
absolutely.
He's an NFL football player playing lacrosse. The guy's freaking massive.
That's a scary sight, even to have him come at you like that.
Oh man, he was big and he was athletic as all hell. Like training with that guy is. And Hartzell was a poor man's Rabel, but even still, he trained and he had made a good career out of it as well. So, I mean, both those guys, I think that was the last couple of years they played in the NLL was those couple of years that we went to the championship. We should have friggin' won that 11 championship too. The refs fucked us in Toronto, which is
the refs
not a surprise.
The refs still suck, and we ran about them every single fucking time on the show.
Every episode we do.
Every week.
They're just brutal.
And
they pander to those fucking guys.
They're all 400 pounds too. They're all 450
They can't
pounds.
keep up.
Yeah.
I mean, they need better training. I think training and development.
But then again, so do the NHL refs because we're Sabres fans here, and they screw us every night too. Who's your team, by the way?
The Sabres are doing a little better this year, aren't they?
Yeah,
yes,
they
sir.
are. I mean,
they just won against Tampa Bay in overtime.
The youth movement's really, really kicking in for the Sabres this year.
Well, that's great because they've been freaking terrible for freaking like
to say the very
12
least.
or
Might as well
15
just
years.
be honest. We
Since-
know about terrible teams in Buffalo
Oh
for sure.
man, it's rough. Like
I mean,
I
dude,
gotta tell you though, I moved to Philadelphia in my first 5 years here. We didn't even have a playoff game here. And I'm like, this city sucks for sports, and I'd make fun of everyone around here.
and you guys
And
had
then-
Daniel Briere, bro, when you were playing down in Philly. You had our old
Yeah.
boy Danny Briere.
Those teams there was some good teams, man. Buffalo, when Hasek was there, like
Yep.
Oh God,
when
yeah.
when the Sabres are good, man, that town is buzzing, dude. Same thing kind of down here. Like you can feel it, and like people are happier, and it's when the sports teams are doing well, there's something about the city that glows.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, no playoff games for 5 years, then boom, the city wins the Super Bowl. Well, I'm like,
Yeah,
all right.
wow.
So I go to the parade and I'm in the parade and I'm high-fiving everyone. So from that day, I was like, you know what? I don't really have, a full allegiance to really anyone. I just been traveling around playing pro sports. So I was like, I've been being a taxpayer here for now it's like 10 years. So I was like, all right. I was like, I'll cheer for the Philly teams. I mean, but it's rough, dude. Like
The
Flyers
Phillies,
are
the
just
MLS
terrible.
team, the Eagles, the Phillies, the MLS team you got over there. 0 for 3.
I mean, so there's some good teams. Like even the Sixers are solid. The Phillies had a great run last year.
That was unreal. Unreal.
The Eagles are a very strong organization. They seem to find a way to put themselves in the mix. The Flyers are terribly run organization though. The management is just brutal. They've tied themselves into contracts that are untradeable commodities. And
I just want to thank them for taking Rasmus Ristolainen's bum ass off the Sabres and
oh,
taking that contract.
so bad, and they paid him so much, man. Brutal. Like those guys can't even play in that league anymore, man. The league is so fast. It's just
No, I know. It's but you know what? The Sabres being so poor for that many years is a big reason why the Bandits get such a big viewing here, because they're consistently a good team.
yeah,
they
that's
have
true.
been for a while, but I don't know. I'm not sure. The Sabres are like 4 points out and 3 games in hand or something like that. Anything could happen.
Yep. Anything can happen.
Yep.
But Luke, I definitely appreciate the time. Final question I ask you before Zoom boots us out of this thing, because Zoom's cheap as hell. Where was your favorite restaurant in downtown Buffalo? Is there a certain spot where you would hit before a game?
There's I don't know if I remember what it's called. There's a little Italian place that me and Loeffler used to go to. It's real close to the stadium, but it's kind of like more over closer to the hood. So
he's got to be talking about Chefs, I think.
It's either Chefs on Exchange Street or it's possibly right on what the heck's the street called? Jesus, I'm from Buffalo and I don't even know the street.
I haven't been up there.
Pearl Street.
I don't know.
Pearl Street Grill is probably my favorite. Over by the baseball stadium.
Pearl Street's good.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of good spots there. I mean, I love the food up there. We go out all the time.
Hot wings? What's your favorite?
Places. I like hot wings. I'm off the hot wings right now.
Yep.
Which blows, and it kind of makes me, lick my lips because I'm looking at pizza right now. My daughter.
Oh no, dude, get that away!
No. I know, man. I'm tested.
The wife's teasing you. This isn't fair.
I'm just tested daily, but I haven't been off the booze for 75 days. I mean, shit, since I was 15 years old.
Dude, are you freaking kidding me? Oh, wait,
I'm 40. This is a little bit of a. It's not really an athlete thing. This is more of a mental. To see if I have mental toughness is what it is.
Like, dude,
because
me neither.
Jesus.
Oh, dude, See, that's what I mean. Like, if I was with you guys, it would be tough not to do a couple shots.
Yeah, exactly. Dude. Anytime you want, bro.
So I gotta just be smart with what I do. And
Yeah,
And I think
course.
that this is a really good test for me. If I can do this, then I'm kicking off my summer and I'm shredded to shit here.
absolutely.
Nice.
Well,
Very cool.
Tony, we got less than a minute because
Yep.
Zoom sucks. Luke
Yes, it
Wiles,
does.
thank you for the time, my man.
Yes, bud. We
Thank
appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you for being a Buffalo Bandit too, man. That goal horn blasted a bunch of times when I was in that building when you were playing. So I thank you for your time in Buffalo.
Thank you, buddy.
Dude, if you guys have some videos of me scoring and that type stuff, I've never seen much game film.
I'll send them.
Gotta
I'll send them,
to you.
bro.
We
Yeah,
have a
send
lot
me
of
some
a
game
bunch of
film,
them on
boys.
YouTube, so we gotta definitely show you.
All right.
Yeah,
guys.
man, because I don't have many. So, but really appreciate you guys having me on. It was really good connecting again, boys.
Thank you for joining
Very
me.
welcome. Thank you so much, Luke.
Take care, fellas.
You too,
Later,
man.
brother.
Peace.